Yes, Mr. Wilscott. Sorry, I'm navigating from my phone as well, because I have a conflicting class. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So let me get you so that you can go. Do you have any questions on the first submission? Because that's also why I'm just online, just to go through the first, just to answer questions on the first submission, and then I want to go through the second submission, which is around the corner. So do you have any questions about the submission that's due on Monday? You have looked at it?
Yes, I do, please, from my side. I'm so sorry. I was a bit delayed on this because I was panicking because I hadn't received my textbooks yet, but I got them this
All right.
morning. So I had a look at the assessment, but I can see I can't see the full assessment instructions. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. So I just needed some guidance on that, please, on how to look. Yeah. Because I know you put it up last week, but I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Okay. So you've got access to the module outline, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So it's in the module outline. It's at the back of it. So this is what it looks like. Open book problem set 1, and it's due on Monday. So when it says session 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So where it says session 3, it means the end of session 3, that we're now in week 3, session 3, and it's due the following Monday, which is next week Monday at 11:55. Just it's not 11:59, 11:55. Just be absolutely sure that you submitted before that time.
Okay.
So you'll find it in here. And last week I actually went through it. So if you catch up on last week's recording, you'll see me going through some of the questions and what I'm looking for, how to answer it, and so forth. And what I've also done is I uploaded. Let me share with you Windows screen. So now I can see yourself. That's corporate social responsibility. All right. So if you go to session 2, I gave a bit of an overview, sort of like a description as to what I'm looking for, opportunity cost, production possibilities, and also the references where in the book you can find it, as well as instructions as to how to name your submission, as well as everything needs to be in a Word document and your Word. So you copy the Word the Excel graphs over. And then what I did is I included a whole bunch of videos for you to have a look at. So production possibilities curve, production macro concept, and then also a video on how to draw the PPC in Excel. So it's a very basic little video where you capture the data and use a scatter graph format and how to label it and all of that. So if you literally follow the video, you'll be able to sort of draw your own graph in Excel. You don't need to buy that Excel handbook. It's not entirely necessary. Your textbook, your main textbook is sufficient. The next question then is, have you been doing the quizzes? Because there's a quiz every week.
And this is where because I look at my notifications, right? And I've been having a look at the due dates. So say, for example, okay, when I go into session 3 and had a look at the quiz, the due date for that is, for example, 31 May. Am I following this incorrectly?
So in the first session, I actually went through what my expectations are. So there's 10 quizzes. You have to do 5 out of the 10, and they're all due the end of session 10. But don't leave them for the last week. try to do them each week. The reason why I made it for the 31st, because it's in a distant future, so there's no issues if it closes or anything like that. The system goes all wonky. So I left it for that date. But what I can do is I can change it. I can change all of them to make them due. I don't want to make them due in the week, because if I make them due in each week, I'm going to have a few emails. Please, something happened last week. I couldn't get to it. Can I please do it? Etc. etc. If you miss one or two, that's also okay. But you have to do at least 5 out of the 10. So make sure that you do that.
Yeah, I saw, and because I was in the first session as well, because I heard you talk about every week, there's an assessment due, but I got confused. I got thrown off by the due date. Okay, that is clear now. Now I understand that the expectation is that every week I am meant to complete one and 5 out of the 10 minimum. Okay, got it.
Okay, no problem. And then I also included a simulator, a market equilibrium simulator, in which you can play around with it. But I see it has not come through entirely well. It seems to have gone all wonky. So what I'll do is I'll fix that, not now, but I'll fix it and post it again. And it will look something like this, where I've done another sort of simulator, open book submission. So it will look like something like this, where you can literally play around with it to see how the demand and supply curves changes. Target price, if you change the price, what happens, and at what point do you reach equilibrium? And this is in it is not that it is in relation to this one, which is in the second submission. So slightly ahead, I'm jumping slightly ahead. So please do go through some of the stuff that I've sort of uploaded. They are quite useful for the submissions. And this is one course, unfortunately, where you cannot fall behind. There's just so much happening every week. There's 3 submissions in a row, and then you've got your summative submission sort of following straight after that, with a week break in between. And you've got the other courses as well. So please, if you do get stuck, just do drop me a note, or just let me know. All right. Shaheen, is that it? Tomsina, have you got any other questions?
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah,
And I have been sorry.
Yeah, carry on.
And I have been going through the weekly content. Yeah, it's just that I want to know, okay, since I missed like week 1 and week 2 already, worth still submitting, or have I forfeited that?
They due in the future, so you need to do 5 out of 10. So it's any 5. It's any 5.
Okay. Okay. No, thank you. And I have gone through the content. It has been very helpful. Just not to stay behind.
Okay, great. Awesome. Shaheen, have you got any questions on submission 1? Let me start there.
So yes, so regrettably I missed the first session, but I did watch it, and I see that there were quite a few questions while you were still going through the first table for question 1. So you didn't really touch much on the decision makers and behavioral factors column. I just wanted to know, because you said the classification and justification is just like one word, micro or macro, and then a quick justification. And then in the next column, are we just supposed to like substantiate it with the economic reasoning?
There we go. Micro, the decision maker, and behavioral factors. What I'm looking for is, who's making the decision? So that's the first thing. And then what drives that decision? If that makes sense. So, I mean, it's 15 marks. So all of these are 1 mark. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Where's the other marks? Justify, identify key decision-making, individual, organization, behavior, factors, 12. Please copy it. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so it's not that either. So it's mostly 1.5 marks for decision-making and behavioral factors if I should add them up like that, which is quite silly. I didn't even spot that. But it's just who makes the decision, and then why. Basically, just why did they make that decision? Bearing in mind the behavioral factors, there's a list of them in the textbook.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you very much. And then there were also quite a few questions regarding how they should include the graphs. So is it fine as long as the graph is just like in between the text, we label it accordingly, and all the variables are there?
Yeah, absolutely. So once you create a graph in Excel, you can literally just copy it. You just right-click copy, and then you come into Word, and then you right-click paste as image. And then it pasted as an image. Don't copy it as a object, because if it's an object, then it's still linked to the sheet. And if you make changes to the sheet, then it happens in the Word document. But if you paste it as an image, it just comes through as a picture, which is a lot easier, because you can also then convert your file into a PDF a lot easier. You will still submit your Excel spreadsheet, because if there's something wonky, I can always open up your spreadsheet and go and have a look and see the calculations and so forth, to see your reasoning behind it. And sometimes we give method marks, so your answer might be wrong, but your calculation, is correct.
Okay. And I was actually using the SACAP template, and then I was just removing everything and then using it to complete these questions. Is it fine if we use the appendices section to add the Excel spreadsheet info, like the tables? Would you want to see it on Excel?
So you've got it in Excel. So it's an Excel file, a separate Excel file, and then for question 2, actually includes like your table and your graph and things. Actually include that into the document, you paste it as so your table, you paste it in there, and your
okay.
Yeah, did you understand what I mean?
I'm with you. Okay, that's awesome.
And create an Excel spreadsheet calculating opportunity cost for each product production possibility. Construct a production possibility curve using Excel. And then so you literally you'll have question 1 in your Word doc. You'll have this little table in there you'll capture this into. You don't need the Excel for this. You just create a little table in your Word document, and then you'll have question 2. So the best thing what I prefer is to always start a question on a new page. So you always start question 2, you'll start, even if there's space after question 1, you start question 2 on a new page, and you start question 3 on a new page. In that way, when I scroll, because remember, I'm marking this on a screen, so it is very different actually with my iPad. I'm marking it on a screen, so scrolling through is a lot easier than if it was a physical submission, a paper-based submission, because they're not sitting there marking with a red pen, so you're not like printing out stuff, so you don't need to save paper. So always just start. Best practice is always to start a question on a new page. In this case, except if it is an essay, then obviously it's one document that flows into the other.
Good. Thank you.
Awesome. Great stuff. Are there any other questions? What else do we have? Sasipo, you joined us?
I'm sorry, apologies, sir.
Yes, no, go for it.
So I'm also going to be on the road now. I'm still at work, so I'm going to head home. So I'm probably going to drop and then I'm going to join again on my phone.
Okay, no problem. Listen, if you don't have any other questions, then that's okay, because I'll move on to the second submission now.
Okay, thank you.
Right, awesome. All right, who do I have online? Sasipo, do you have any questions about the first submission, which is due on Monday?
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
I don't have any questions for now, but on with regards to question for the spreadsheet, I struggled to copy and paste it into my Word document. So when I pasted it in my Word document, it came more like a table more than it was a spreadsheet. So I'm not sure if that's acceptable.
Okay, did you copy it? Did you copy it? And then, so what, the graph, are you just talking about the graph?
No, the graph came as the graph came as an image. I'm talking about
Okay,
the spread.
the actual
The
actual table,
because
the actual little table that you have. Yeah, so I mean, that you can also copy as, you can also paste as a spreadsheet, as an image, right? So you can, yeah, so you can select it. You just select the table, and then you right click, you copy, and then you right click paste special as image. So it will come through as an image, and you can size it. You can make it bigger or smaller as well. Okay. Awesome. But remember, you will still submit your Excel spreadsheet. So I mean, you'll still submit that. So that's okay. If something does go wonky.
Should we submit our spreadsheet along with our the Word document?
The Word document. Yeah, so the Word document you convert into a PDF, and you'll submit that, and you'll submit your spreadsheet. So there'll be two documents that you submit as part of your submission.
Okay, no problem.
Because when I mark your document, when I mark the submission, then I can always go check on the spreadsheet to see, to verify and to check, to double check, especially check your calculations if there's something that's off.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. No problem. So yeah, let me get going with problem 2, or open book set problem 2, which talks about market analysis of consumer behavior, which is question 1. In the context is the South African automotive market faces disruption, with traditional petrol vehicles, hybrid cars, and electric vehicles competing for market share. Substitutes and complementary goods analysis. So if you look at session 4 this week, which is price elasticity, and next week, which is substitutes, you'll have a look and work through that particular sort of section. You'll see that it's actually it makes economics feel more real. I mean, yeah, demand and supply curves, you look at it, and yes, we try to make these sort of case studies a bit more that you can identify with it. But once you start looking at macro, because now we're moving into a realm of macroeconomics, so we're shifting away from microeconomics, we're moving into macroeconomics. So these are the things that are markets, we talk about countries, we talk about imports, we talk about exports, we talk about market analysis, substitution, we talk about things like market equilibrium. So these are macro issues again, the forest versus the tree. So away from singular decisions to macroeconomics, which impacts communities, well, in this case, countries, and trade between countries, and government decisions and government policy. So let's have a look. So the first question is, analyze the relationship between petrol cars, hybrid cars, and electric vehicles, and electric cars in economic terms. Now, that's a very broad question. And it's only 5 marks, because that question you can really go off and start talking about it. So when we talk about a relationship, we can talk about it in terms of demand and supply. We can talk about it in terms of pricing. We can talk about it in terms of substitutions. So are hybrid and electric vehicles direct substitutes for petrol vehicles? And is electric vehicle a substitute for a hybrid car? Is a hybrid car a substitute for a petrol vehicle? Are they interchangeable? Are they direct substitutes, or are they complementary? And because if they substitute, it means that when you buy more of one, when the sales of one increases, or when you buy more of the one, when the demand for one increases, then the demand for the other would decrease. So that is direct substitutes. Complementary products don't have an impact. They don't have an impact on each other in terms of demand and supply. So that is really what I'm looking for, or you can even bring in something like, if you want to think a bit outside of the box, you can think about, is electric cars going to bring in a market that would not otherwise have bought cars at all? So if the market is 1,000 buyers, potential buyers, of which 10 of those buyers or 100 of those buyers would never have bought a petrol car because of their belief in, it is not good for the environment, but now they have a substitute or they have an alternative, would they then now come into the market to buy an electric car, whereas they would not have bought a petrol car and a hybrid car? Again, it's only 5 marks. So please be very mindful in terms of how you answer this. But those are the terminology. That is the way. It's not just one of those general sort of where you can just go, yeah, if hybrid cars, but also think about pricing as well, because the price of these do impact the purchase decision as well. So you kind of have to start off at the beginning and say, I'm going to look at it in terms of demand and supply curves, or substitute and complementary goods. I'm going to look at it in terms of those 2 categories, and they are complementary, therefore they will have no impact on each other, or they are direct substitutes, and this is the impact. For every 100 hybrid cars that are sold, you'll sell less petrol cars, 100 less petrol cars. So that is really for question A. For question B, evaluate how the following factors affect the demand relationship between these vehicle types. So government proposes a carbon tax, which means that the price of petrol cars will go up. Eskom's load shedding is affecting the charging infrastructure. You don't have a number, you don't have a percentage. So what impact will that have on electric vehicles? Because hybrid vehicles are vehicles that charge using the petrol engine. So you still need petrol in the vehicle in order to charge the electric motor, in order to use the electric motor. This is different from electric vehicles, which doesn't have a petrol motor in it at all. Those are just very much in simple terms. And then the rising petrol prices. So the price of petrol goes up, maybe 5%. What impact will that have on the purchasing decision of a hybrid versus an electric vehicle? Again, it's 5 marks, 5 marks. It's only 10 marks. So please, I'm not looking for long explanations, just 2 or 3. I mean, this is 3 sentences and another 3 sentences, 3 to 4 sentences, and you answer the question. The exchange rate impact analysis, 5 marks. Most vehicles are imported. Analyze how 15% rand depreciation against major currencies would affect the import cost for vehicle manufacturers. So what is a 15% rand depreciation? It means that that the rand weakens by 15%. So it goes from the same thing that happened since the Middle East conflict started. The price of oil shot up to over $100, where it has been sitting at between $65 and $70 for the last more than 2 years. It now suddenly shot up to over 110. And also the rand weakened by more than 10% in the space of 10 days. So it's gone from under 15 rand. It was at 15 rand 60, 70 for the dollar, and it shot up to 16 rand 50 to a dollar. So that is what depreciation means. It means you have to use more rands to buy $1. So what does that mean for import costs for vehicle manufacturers? Obviously, the cost of parts will increase. Consumer demand for different vehicle types. Now, if the whole vehicle is being imported, then that price will go up, significantly go up. And then government policy responses support your analysis with economic theory. So how will the government respond? It all depends on government policy. So you have to make some assumptions. So you can say, assuming that the government want to reduce carbon emissions, they want to increase electric vehicles on the road to reduce carbon emissions because of the the green revolution and all of that, they might decide to provide a subsidy for importers of electric vehicles. So for every electric vehicle that they import, they provide those importers with a subsidy. So that could be one. So you kind of have to make some assumptions, or you can come from, so it's mostly subsidies. It could be, in South Africa, we wouldn't really look at wage decreases. It's mainly subsidies. It's mainly through subsidies and import support programs that the government can possibly assist. So that is really, and again, it's only 5 marks. So just be very mindful about how you answer that. All right, let me pause there before I move on to market equilibrium. Any questions?
Nothing from my side.
Okay, awesome. So another question. Evaluate the effectiveness of 3 government policies to promote electric vehicles. We were just speaking about that. Import duty reduction on electric vehicles. There shouldn't be an import duty on electric vehicles. Electric vehicles should come in without any duties applied to them. So duties are like tariffs. You've heard the US tariff story for the last year. Import duty is like a tariff on it. There shouldn't be import duties on electric vehicles. There should actually be the reverse, which is consumer incentives. So what consumer incentives are is that you can actually, when you buy an electric vehicle, you can claim back, like a few years back when we had the whole solar boom and Eskom was in trouble and we had load shedding, and there was these incentives that people can apply for. So you could apply by your bank for special rate. So the government would give the banks money to give to people if they installed solar panels on their roofs and things. So you can buy it for 100,000, install 100,000 rands worth, and you'll get a subsidy that covers maybe 30% of that cost, and so forth. So that would be for me, that if the government is serious about electric vehicles and carbon emissions, they should actually incentivize people to buy them, and there should be no duties on them. But that is just a rant on the side, a side quest. But the question is, how effective, if they want to promote electric vehicle adoption, what should they do about import duties? It should be taken away completely. But justify why you're saying it. Tax incentives for charging station installation. That is great. But the question is, how effective will it be? And then the reverse, which is a completely different approach, which is saying that we have significant investment in public transport, then we won't need an electric vehicle because we won't need vehicles at all. We can just use public transport to go everywhere. But that implies there's a significant investment in public transport away from incentives for people to buy vehicles. Because once again, think about the pyramid in South Africa, where the amount of people that can afford an electric vehicle are very, very small in terms of its overall impact to the greater economy versus the millions and millions that can't afford to buy an electric vehicle. But public transport would be a much greater investment in terms of overall productivity and also reducing carbon emissions. So that is, if promoting electric vehicles is about carbon emissions and the green revolution and adoption of green energy, then electric vehicles is not quite the way to go, especially within a South African context, because in South Africa, we still generate more than 40% of our power. Our electricity comes from burning coal, and not just any type of coal, the dirtiest kind of coal that you can possibly get, which is high sulfur coal. So electric vehicles will still use that electricity, which is produced by coal-fired power stations. So if it is about green policies and reducing carbon emissions, then electric vehicles might not be the answer. But possibly having electric buses and having electric trains, those where you're moving thousands of people at a time rather than one person at a time, might be a better option. But it's all about your view, and it's all about what justification you can give. All right. So let me move on to market equilibrium. We don't have much time left. Market equilibrium and supply analysis. So what I did is for those so that sort of connected late, I created a simulator, which you can find under session 3, elasticity of price, demand, and supply. And what you can do is it's market equilibrium supply analysis. If you click on the link, and you can play around with this. You can import duty, how many units you're importing. You're importing 100. What is the target price? Move the target price around. And then you'll see the result. You'll see the equilibrium price is this, current import, local equilibrium, etc. And this is a good way of being able to visually, and I know the example which I've used here is very close to the example in the assignment. But the point is for you to be able to visually see and visually play around with the different sliders to see how demand and supply, demand of the price, you got price on the top. So price on the top, and how price impacts the demand and supply curve. So the blue one is total supply with imports. local supply, and then demand, and then you've got the equilibrium point, which is over there, and then your electric price level, electric selected price level. So you can say 20,000 Rand, and you're importing an additional 100 units. What would the equilibrium be? Equilibrium quantity is 350, and the equilibrium price is 15,000. But that leaves us with a surplus of 100,000. So the question is, at what point do we reach equilibrium where we have no surplus? Then you can literally move it. Let's see. We've reached equilibrium. And we've reached it at additional 40 units imported. And with the local supply at just move this out of the way, at a price of 18,000 per unit, you've reached market equilibrium. So please play around with that just to be able to visually help you understand this concept, because it can be a bit, I almost wanted to say esoteric. It can be a bit technical, and if you don't visually being able to visualize it. All right, and that will help you with question 2. Welcome, Xavier. Are there any questions for question 2?
Welcome to. Sorry, I was traveling. I came in late. I'm sorry.
No problem, Xavier. No problem. For those that listen to my listen to all of that now, any comments or questions on question 2 for question 2? All right. Excellent. And I hope that tool will be useful, because I'm quite chuffed by it, because I used Gemini to create to write the code for me, and then I used the HTML reader to convert it into HTML website. So I'm quite chuffed with it. So please do play around with it and give me some feedback if you find it useful. All right, question 3. I'll move through question 3 very quickly. International trade and exchange rate for 10 marks. South Africa exports 60% of its platinum to China, imports 40% of its electronics from China. So there is a bit of a trade, we call it, trade surplus that we have with. We don't have a trade surplus. We've got a significant trade deficit with China. We import a lot more from China than that we export to them. We've got so the question is, calculate South Africa's competitive advantage in platinum if South Africa can produce 1 ton of platinum or 50 electronic devices, while China can produce 1 ton of platinum or 200 electronic devices. Comparative advantage. And then explain, I can't really give you the answer there, explain the benefits of this trade relationship for both countries. And the current trade benefit is that China takes our platinum, and we buy electronic devices from China, because they can, for every 1 ton of platinum, they can produce 200 electronic devices, and we can't compete with that productivity because they've got significant economies of scale. So the question then is this a useful relationship, or who is being disadvantaged, or are we both getting an advantage out of this? So that's really what I'm looking for. And then I see there's 2 marks missing. So this is the 2 marks is B, because it's 3 and 2. And then B is for 5 marks. The rand has strengthened 8% against the one. Analyze the impact on South African platinum exporters, South African electronics importers, and overall trade balance implications. Now, the question is, do we buy in yuan or do we buy in dollars? And has the yuan weakened against the dollar or improved against the dollar? So this is what makes this question interesting, because we don't, when we trade with other countries, international trade doesn't happen in, or international trade settlements doesn't happen in local currencies, it happens in dollars. And that is why the US dollar is so significant, is so strong, and has such a impact on the world economy, but also on the world's politics. So the question is, so I don't want you to, it's only 5 marks. So I don't want you to go into a discussion about trading in dollars versus trading in yuan. Just take the question on face value. So if we pay China in yuan, in rands, and we receive, they pay us in rands and we pay them in yuan, or it's the other way around, how do 8% rand improvement against the yuan, how does that impact platinum exporters, electronic importers, and what happens to the overall trade balance? Because that means that possibly 1 ton of platinum would be 8% higher in price, and the 200 electronic devices that we can get for every 1 ton of platinum might become 202 or 204, 205 electronic devices. All right. So I'll leave that there. Cliffhanger. Awesome. Are there any questions before we sign off? I know we were a bit slow in starting. I do apologize for that once again. But are there any final questions, any final remarks?
Mr. Wilscott, just a question from my side. It's Tom Sina. So basically, if I understand correctly, are you saying that there is actually no right or wrong answer as long as we can substantiate our answers to some
for which questions?
So I was looking at the last question, for example, that we were doing.
Okay.
So obviously we all think in different ways. We all can get very creative, but I'm just asking, like, as long as we can substantiate it with facts, does
so the numbers is in the question. So you'll see, so your trade answer lies in the 1 ton of platinum for 200 devices that they can make. So we give them 1 ton of platinum, they can give us 200 devices. And therein lies the answer.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sure.
Okay. Awesome. Xavier, you've got a question? You've got your hand up?
Hi, Theo. Sorry, I don't know. Can you see me now? Oh, yeah. There you are. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure about the next session. I've missed 2 because I'm not always sure when the timing is. I usually got it on the calendar, but then on the calendar I can only see the psych classes for whatever reason. I don't know. Just an indication on the next webinar. I really appreciate the webinars a bit more, but
6:30 on a Wednesday.
Is pretty new to me.
No problem. At 6:30 on a Wednesday.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I know there might be a clash with one other class. I'm not sure. Tomzina, which other class is the session clashing with?
It's Stacey Lee's class, diversity in the South African context.
Okay. Is that for the same business management group that you guys are, which is business management and psych?
I'm really not sure who is in which group.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No problem. Xavier, which course are you doing?
I'm doing business and psych. I'm doing business and psych. It doesn't clash because we had our webinar yesterday, so this one is suitable. The time, I forgot to ask what time does it start. This one, because this is very important for me. I really want to get a handle on it.
Yeah.
So
It
it starts
is
at 6 or 7 or
6:30.
6:30. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, 6:30. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Yeah.
can I interrupt? So for Ms. Watson, Stacey, this was our first class. It was a meet and greet. It was meant to be yesterday. Well, she made a mistake with yesterday's date. So I think that's why it's clashing. But we haven't had a class. We won't have a class every week with her. So I think we should be okay.
Okay. Yeah. I know I know you guys are on the flexi program. So with the flexi program, we don't, as online facilitators, we don't have to, online educators, we're not obligated to have sessions with you each week. But for this particular course, it's kind of important just to stay in contact each week. So that's what I kind of prefer, rather just to have the sessions each week. But the sessions it's not me sitting here teaching you and how to draw demand and supply graphs and how to do price elasticity and how to do that. It's a lot more like this, where I want you to come prepared to class with questions on these assessments, because these assessments, you've got one assessment each week until the end of this course, basically, almost 1, 2, 3, and then you've got your major summative assessment, which is due, and so forth. So I really want you guys to come, having read through the assessment, come with a prepared couple of questions and say, Theo, I looked at this question and I just need some assistance with it, or can you better explain to me how I should answer this, or where can I look for, or how do I, etc. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Guys, thank you very much for this evening. It's a different set of people this evening. For the last 2 weeks, I've had other folks. So it's nice. Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Xavier. All right, Xavier, the session is recorded, so I will post it tomorrow on YouTube with a link and share that link with you guys so that you can listen to my rambling some more. And please do, after listening to the session, if there is any questions, you drop me a note and say, Theo, in the session you talked about this. Can you please provide some clarity, because I didn't quite understand your mumbling, so please help. All right. Awesome. Once again, this is my face, just in case you need to sort of recognize me or point me out in a lineup, and I will connect with you guys next week. Cheers.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody.
Cheers. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.